And we're live. What's up?
What's going on? Welcome back to the Man Cave of Doom.
We took our mid-season break, I guess, 3 weeks.
We like those.
Yeah, we do.
Special guest tonight. We had to track him down. It's been years. Nobody could find him, but we finally did. It's Fitzzy. What's going on, brother? Uh-oh. I think we lost your audio.
I don't think he can hear us now either.
Hey.
Hold on, what's that?
Oh, typical.
He just heard it.
Can you hear us? Fitzzy, can you hear us?
He can't hear us. Hold on.
He needs to back out. There you go.
Oh, he's muted.
You're muted. Down at the bottom where it says mute.
There you go.
I'm the old guy, man. Show me how to send this email. Hi.
What's going on, man? It's great to have you here.
What's up? Thanks for having me.
Man, it's been forever, dude. How long has it been since you made a video?
Oh, geez. Probably 4 or 5 years, I would guess.
I would say you were out of the VC before I left. I mean, a couple years probably.
Yeah. I still watched it. I still watch you guys, or George still makes videos. I watched that. But I constantly felt ill-equipped to keep anybody's attention for any amount of time. This will certainly be a letdown for anybody that watches tonight. But
always dug your videos, man. Awesome stuff. So you're in the Dallas area, correct?
Yes, I'm in a suburb of Dallas. It's called Grand Prairie, which is kind of in between Dallas and Fort Worth.
Right on. So, yep. I remember you probably started not long after George and I. I mean, you did it for what, 4 or 5 years in the VC making videos?
I think I started, it would have been about 8 years ago. And I did it for 3 or 4 years probably. And then I realized I couldn't hang with you guys. So a big part of that was I had a young kid. You know, I had a young daughter that seemed to take up a lot of my time, and so I jumped out.
That's cool. Yeah, life sometimes, man.
Yeah.
I kind of hit the wall too. It was time to
we all
bow out. Yeah. I just heard something kind of distracted me. Sorry.
I thought you were going to say I just heard something terrible. I'm like, oh, what happened?
Nah, it's just like, what the hell was it? I think it was one of the dogs dicking around. So
nice.
But we did some trades throughout the years and all that, man. Definitely.
When I first got back into vinyl, Greeno, I don't even know that you'll remember this or not, but you sent me the biggest package of records that I've ever got in the mail. You had a bunch of doubles or whatever, and I ended up buying 45 or 50 records from you guys, or from you, Greeno.
Really?
And you sent it to me in one ginormic package, and somehow they all got there in one piece. It was it was nice. You guys were always very kind to me.
Yeah, the one trade I remember with you was for Super Suckers. You sent me, and I think I sent you Dream Theater, the first one, maybe.
When Dream and Day Unite, absolutely.
Yeah.
I still have that.
That's cool. I still got the Super Suckers, man.
Good. Good.
The greatest rock and roll band in the world.
Yeah.
Well, wait, this is AC/DC week, George.
I know it is.
Yeah, we were kind of touching on that at the beginning. We were like, nope, stop. We'll wait till we get going live here. So actually, we go and touch on it, man. Have you heard it, Fitzzy?
I have. Walmart, which I don't ever go to Walmart things, but they all their records on sale for $15 this weekend. So I went to Walmart and got the new AC/DC for $15 on vinyl. So I like it a lot. I am not as big a AC/DC fan as George is. I love them, but George's love of AC/DC. But I think it's the best thing. I mean, I like it a whole lot more than Rock or Bust. It's really good. There's a lot of melody in there, and it's really good.
Right on.
A lot more backing vocal this time, which I like.
Absolutely.
Kind of reminds you of the old days.
Yeah.
I listen to it. I try to see. It's so hard for me because I'm such a huge fan. So like the first run through when I listened to it was like, okay, and then I listen to it again. Like it didn't. It's like with every AC/DC record. It's like I study it as soon as I pop it on, and then it takes me like 4 or 5 listens before I can enjoy it. Does that make sense?
Oh, definitely.
Totally.
Yeah. So I'm at that point now where I'm really enjoying the record, and I would think like I would say 11 out of the 12 tracks are pretty killer. There's one track that's just kind of to me was like a ball breaker leftover, but it's not that it's bad. It's just I thought lyrically it is what it is with AC/DC and lyrics, but I just thought the lyrics on that were a little childish.
And I feel like when I listen to AC/DC, and they're not I haven't pulled an AC/DC album prior to getting this album in probably 6 months, just because so much of their stuff you hear all the time, forever on radio. You don't necessarily feel the need to pull a record out to hear them. But everyone talks about Angus and of course Malcolm when he was around. But I was listening to the new album. It's just like, man, that rhythm section, man, Phil and Cliff, the pocket that they play in, that's every bit as much AC/DC to me as Angus and Malcolm's guitar playing were. Like that rhythm section, and God, I love it. I love Phil Rudd.
I mean, they've been together for the most part since 77, I think, when Cliff joined, other than when Phil left for the 10 years there. But
right.
Yeah, like you said, if it wasn't that rhythm section, it may not work.
Yeah.
Well,
Carino, what are your thoughts, sir?
Are you guys ready for the wet blanket?
Uh-oh.
I know.
Nah. Like I said, I didn't order the vinyl because they're fucking stupid. I'm not paying $33 for a new record.
That's 70 for you.
If I'd have known it was on sale at Walmart, I probably would have went and grabbed it. But the wife wanted it, so I went ahead and got the CD. And we were going around this weekend and took it with us and spun it. We made it through at least twice, maybe 2.5 times. And when we got home, I mean, it was just playing constant while we were out, doing our thing. Got home, I was like, well, what do you think? And she's like, I don't know, what do you think? I said, it's AC/DC, but nothing grabbed me. I after hearing it 2.5 times, and I'm only 2.5 times in, and George that's a fair statement. You gotta, I need some more spins, more time with it. But I don't remember a song. Nothing stuck in my head like how AC/DC sticks in, old school AC/DC sticks in my head. Now I will say, and I've heard other people are opposite. What was the last one? Rock or Bust?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like that album. I thought that was a great freaking album. I wasn't a big fan of Black Ice. So I'm kind of the opposite, I guess. There, it seems like most people are like the other one better. But I don't know. And like I said, I think I need more time with it. I'm totally not shitting on it. I mean, it's AC/DC, you know what I mean? It sounds like AC/DC. It's just nothing stuck with me. You know what I mean? After listening to it a couple times.
I will say, for me, I like it. I feel like it's kind of top heavy. Like the songs that I like the most are in the first half of the album. Not that I dislike the back half, but I feel like they kind of front stacked it. Like the first 4 or 5 songs, I think it's 4, through the Mist song, whatever that Mist. George, you may know the name of it.
Through the Mist of Time.
Yeah, those that Through the Mist of Time is probably. Well, no, I do like. I'm totally going to backtrack on this. I love Code Red at the end, and I like what's the Demon Fire.
Demon Fire, yeah.
And Through the Mist of Time. Those are probably my 3 favorite songs on the album. So I'm totally backtracking. Forget what I said.
So
That's why I don't make videos anymore.
You said that you thought it was front loaded with the heavy hitters. I think.
Yeah.
That's what you meant. Yeah, I think.
Well,
I think I think you're right to a point, because like kick you when you're down is kind of like, that's just one of those okay songs. Which You Spell is a fucking great song, but the lyrics are terrible. And My favorite track on it is No Man's Land. Like the last 5 songs on the record, I thought were the stronger. Now Code Red's lyrically is a little silly, but musically, I thought it had that stompy blues kind of AC/DC feel to it. It's definitely all over the place. If you're, it's so hard with AC/DC because you try and compare them to certain albums that they've done before, and I would say this is more Black Ice than it is the last album. But I don't know. But it's a little riff stacked more with riffs than Black Ice was. See, it's so fucking hard because I thought the last album, the difference between Rock or Bust and Black Ice was riffs. Like, if you put those albums back to back, listen to them back to back, there's, 1,000 times more riffs in Rock or Bust than there is on Black Ice. It's weird. And this album's the same way. Like, he went, found the riffs, found, oh, that sounds cool, let's use that here. And they built all the songs and credited Malcolm for it.
Right.
And I really do think I like it better than the last album for sure. And the more I listen to it now, the more I'm really getting into it even more. Even the songs that I think lyrically are pretty shitty, like Code Red and Witch's Spell. I hate it's AC/DC lyrics, so you got to, they're not going to be like Harvard graduate, Harvard graduates, right? It's basically rhyme scheming to go along with the fucking groove of the song. But yeah, I definitely like it a lot. I love it. I love the album actually, and it's just growing. It's building even more so on me. I think the production's great, especially the first riff in Shot in the Dark. This is the opening, just that little guitar riff, and then the whole wall sound comes behind it. I was like, wow.
That's kind of it. I mean, the wall of sound. Mm-hmm. I think Rock or Bust had more air in it, more space, a little more raw. That might be why I liked it more than Black Ice or this one. There doesn't seem to be as much of that. It's like you said, it just, when it starts, and it's kind of in your face the whole way. I mean, I like the more kind of open, older sounding AC/DC where, the guitars have pauses and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't spent a lot of time with it, but I did notice that it's definitely a wall of sound.
Yeah, for sure. My whole thing, I like Brendan O'Brien as a producer, but enough already. Like, go fucking retire somewhere, bro. You know what I mean? Like, he's been around for so long. Nothing against him, but it's like, if he wasn't in the picture, I want to see somebody else produce these guys. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like they tried the Rick Rubin thing. That didn't, I mean, it was a cool record. I liked the record. It was more blues based than hard rock. A lot of people are hit and miss with Ball Breaker, but they learned their lesson with Rick Rubin. It was too dry of an album, I thought, for AC/DC. But then after that, they go back to the Brother. And I thought that, like Stiff Upper Lip, some of the songs aren't that great, but like you were saying, it has that raw, airy kind of live in the studio vibe to it.
Right.
Matter of fact, if you go listen to Satellite Blues on that record and crank it, you can hear the fucking ant buzz.
That's cool.
And I love that shit.
Yeah.
And the first time I heard it in the car, I was like, the fuck, is my speakers blowing? Like, what is that noise? And then I brought it home and was listening to it on the stereo. I'm like, oh, it's fucking ant buzz. I'm like, and they kept it in there. How cool is that?
That is cool.
Yeah. Like I said, go ahead. Go ahead, man.
I don't know if we're done with this topic. The thing that's on my head today did anybody listen to the Howard Stern show this morning with Wolfgang Van Halen, or heard the song? Or
I heard the song. Yeah, I heard the song.
Yeah.
How is it?
I saw it with the video, and the video is really moving. The video is just home videos of him and Eddie throughout his life, basically. And it would be hard to not be moved by that. Initially, when I heard the song, I thought the song is good. He's got a really good voice. I felt like it kind of was a little repetitive, but then I kept going back to the song throughout the day, and I the more that I've listened to the song, the more I've liked it, and I'm interested to hear what the rest of his stuff sounds like. It's not Van Halen. It's not like, if people are looking for the second coming of Van Halen, it doesn't sound like that. But I thought it was a really good interview with Stern, and I really appreciated the video with the music, especially. That was cool.
Cool. I need to check that out.
I thought it was interesting that he named the project Mammoth.
Yeah, I read in Rolling Stone they released an interview with him after the Stern show this morning, and it was, I mean, it would be hard to think that it wasn't, but it was a call back to the pre-Van Halen Mammoth. Right. And he said that he asked Eddie, like in 2014, he asked Eddie if he could do that, if he could use the name, and Eddie gave him his blessing, of course. And people have been like, he's been talking about making, releasing music for like 4 years, and I don't know if you follow him on social media at all, but he's got a lot of grief from people bagging on him. And he's saying, basically in the Stern interview, he said he's had stuff ready since like 2018. He was actually rehearsing with a touring band, and then his dad got really sick, and he shelved all that stuff to be with his dad, which I totally respect. But they were keeping everything so close-lipped, right? They weren't telling everyone how sick Eddie was. And so, people were just like, where's the music? And he wasn't able to go, I'm taking care of my pop. You know what I mean? So but anyway, it was a really good interview. If you have Sirius XM, I'm sure it'll show up on YouTube at some point, but it's worth listening to for sure.
That's cool. I'll have to check that out. I saw Mibber was posting stuff on Facebook throughout the day, but I haven't had a chance to check it out yet.
I know 60 Minutes Australia has put up the first part of their AC/DC thing. If you want to get moved at that, watch that, the end of that first segment. Holy moly.
You're talking about Malcolm or something?
Yeah, when Angus was talking about Malcolm, he it's like when you see guys especially guys that you've been kind of like idolized since you were a kid, get emotional and upset. You're like, what the fuck? It kind of throws you,
Right.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I'm like tearing up, like, oh my God,
Yeah.
That's how the Eddie Van Halen, that Wolfie thing kind of hit me, like, oh man.
Yeah. Well, at the end of the Wolfie video, he plays there's just a picture of him and Ed, and he plays like a voicemail that Eddie left him that basically said, I love you so much, I'm proud of you. Like, I get kind of emotional just here, because I would kill to have a voicemail of my dad. My dad passed in '94, so it was, we weren't doing that stuff. But it also made me think, as a parent, I need to be dropping these kinds of messages for my kid that can stay with her after I don't know. It hit me in all the right spots this morning. It was
right.
Yeah. It was good.
That's we tell the kids we love them every time. I do it every time I walk out the door.
Absolutely.
Well, I got something for you, Fitzzy. I pulled your YouTube channel up. You took all your videos down.
Yeah, I
should have left them up, brother.
I kind of regret that, to be honest with you. I don't remember what happened. One night I was just like, I'm taking all this down, and I think I pretty much immediately regretted it. In fact, tonight I was telling my daughter, who's 10, that I was doing this, and she was like, I went to because at one point she thought she wanted to make a YouTube page, and so my wife had been like, your dad has a YouTube page, and she was like, I went to your YouTube page and all your videos are gone, and she was really upset. And it was a decision. If you're out there and you used to make YouTube videos and you don't anymore, don't delete them. You'll end up regretting it.
I keep telling everybody, like, when I walked away, it's like I didn't pull them down. They're out there, man. I mean, I don't care. You know, because I think George and I have talked about this too. You know, 30 years from now, this shit's still going to be floating around, and there's going to be like internet, you know, detectives or archaeologists, whatever, out there looking at this stuff. So just leave it up. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. It was. I regret doing that, but you are correct. They're gone.
Yeah. So, but you're not the only one, dude. A lot of guys leave and they take them down. It's like, man, leave them up. You know, it's not.
Yeah.
It's no big deal. So
yeah,
shouldn't have done it.
That's fine. Spur of the moment. You know what I mean? So, all right. Well, let's kind of get into it. Fitzy's first time here, and it's great to have you here, dude. I mean, we've kind of kept in touch a little bit, Facebook.
It's funny, man. I'm sorry to cut you off, but like I asked Greeno, I said, what's Fitzy's YouTube channel name again? And he's like, he doesn't have any videos up there. And it's like, oh wow. And then it dawned on me, it's like, I haven't seen Fitzzy on YouTube. I see him all the time on Facebook. So it's not like, like it's not like I even missed anything. You know what I mean? Every Saturday I'm like, I get my coffee and there's him and his daughter dancing or doing something in the
right.
And it's fucking awesome every week.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Thanks. That's something. So my daughter, she loves music, and we were in the car one day, and Africa by Toto came on, and she wanted to film us singing it. So we sang it, and then she was like, we should do this every week. And we lip sync. We're not actually singing it to anybody who hasn't seen the videos. You don't want to hear that. But so every week she picks a song and we lip sync, a minute and a half of the song, and we post it. And to be honest with you, I'm not super comfortable lip syncing and posting it, but my daughter is all about it. And I'm just like, the memories that I'm making with her are worth any kind of discomfort that I might feel about posting those things. And so really it's about her and the memories that we're creating. And I also appreciate the time that we spend on them. And I know that, she's 10 and already she doesn't want to do it necessarily every week. And I don't ever push her because I don't want it to be a chore, but I know that, the days are numbered. I feel like every week that she says, let's do a video, I'm like, all right, we've got another one. Cause I don't know that it's going to happen the next week. Right. Cause she's just at the age where she's maybe starting to think, I don't want to do this. So
I don't want to lip sync with dad.
Right. Yeah. So she didn't want to do it. This is funny. She didn't want to do it anymore. And I was like, okay, we can stop doing it, but I think we should do, she loves Van Halen's version of Happy Trails. Mm-hmm. And so I said, I think if we're going to stop doing it, we need to do one more video, and it needs to be Happy Trails by Van Halen. And she was like, okay, I don't think I'm ready to do that yet. I think I want to keep. So with the realization that, okay, we will stop it. She was like, I don't want to stop it. So, but I do know it's borrowed time at this point. So
right. It's funny. Even my wife follows you on Facebook, and she's like, "Oh, did you see what Fitzy put up with his daughter and all this stuff?" It's funny.
Yeah.
So, excuse me. All right, so kind of get into it. Basically, like I said, anytime we have somebody on first time, kind of like do like a little interview thing, talk about basically your road to music. How you got started, what started you, and that kind of.
So my earliest memory with music was loving the song Rhinestone Cowboy by Glenn Campbell. And that was a really big song for me. I think I must have been, just based on the memories that I have and where we were living at the time, I must have been 3 or 4. But for some reason I remember loving that song. And then some neighborhood kids had a Kiss album. Kiss seems to be,
there you go. Our age, man.
Right. And so I spent, so one of the older brothers he gave me a copy of Destroyer, Love Gun, and Kiss Alive 2. And I was so excited with Love Gun that I didn't want it to leave my side. And so I went to the park with my copy of Love Gun and sat it on the slide while I played. And, so Love Gun was gone pretty quick. I just melted Love Gun on the slide. But,
that's great.
But I had Destroyer and Alive 2. And I used to sit in my room and play. And I thought that I thought Gene Simmons was the coolest when I was a kid, but I loved drums. And so my friend's brother said, well, Gene Simmons plays the drums. So I would pretend to be the drummer in Kiss, but I was Gene Simmons playing the drums in
Right.
Kiss. And then I'm also, I guess, a kid of, the MTV generation. Hey, it's Miver.
What's up, Miver?
Oh man, that dude's the best. I'm a kid from MTV generation, and so some of my earliest memories early on were the Styx videos for Paradise Theater, which had "Rockin' the Paradise," "Too Much Time on My Hands," "The Best of Times." So that was the first band that I actually asked for an album from, and so Paradise Theater was the first album that I actually asked for, and then I grew up in the middle of Oklahoma, so there wasn't a whole lot of like indie radio stations or whatever. So pretty much in my elementary school days, my music was all whatever MTV was feeding me. So I was, REO Speedwagon and Peter Gabriel and Genesis and all those things, Billy Squier, which is hard to imagine MTV play videos at all, let alone Billy Squier post or before Rock Me Tonight, which, that's a whole nother thing. But and then I had a buddy of mine who also had an older brother that was big into metal. I remember they had he played me Power Slave by Iron Maiden, and I was petrified and excited equal amounts over Iron Maiden. And for Christmas, and so I became kind of a metal guy. Mm-hmm. And for Christmas in 8th grade, they bought me a ticket to go see Iron Maiden with Vinnie Vincent opening on the Somewhere in Time tour.
Right on.
And I remember, I vividly remember, I loved it. It changed my life forever. But I remember they played Number of the Beast, which I wasn't familiar with really. And they had the whole crowd chanting 666. And I grew up in a super Christian religious family, and I remember thinking, oh shit, I may not get out of here tonight. Like this may not turn out for me. But despite that, it was amazing and awesome. And I work in concerts now. So
it was so cool back then that when we were that age with metal, because some of it was scary. Like you're saying, like with me, it was those early Venom albums. I remember seeing them no, I can't do that, man. That shit's that's too much. They went too far.
Oh, I had a buddy whose dad was a Baptist preacher, and they had these tapes that they would give parents about the evils of hard rock music, and it was I think it was called The Dirty Dozen. It was it was these albums that were horrible, and one of them was Hotel California by the Eagles. Which,
really? Oh yeah, they hated that because of all the drug references.
But I remember Ozzy kind of freaked me out as a kid a little bit. I loved it. I was drawn to it, but at the same time, it was like, oh my god, what is this? But
right.
And I even Shout at the Devil kind of freaked me out, which seems silly now, knowing who the band is and what the trajectory of that band was. But at the time, it was really kind of freaky music for me. But I loved it. I mean, Shout at the Devil was a huge album for me. I remember listening to Bastard in my bedroom, and my mom coming in and going, "What are they saying?" And my mom was like, super whatever. And so I was in 6th grade at the time, and my best excuse was they were saying mustard.
That's so weird. Yeah. That's so weird, man, that you said mustard, because when you said that when your mother asked you, what are they saying? I'm like, say mustard, say mustard. That's so weird that you said mustard.
I totally said mustard.
I guess it's the closest thing to bastard, but mustard also popped into my head the first thing.
So now when I hear that song, I still, somewhere in my head, I hear mustard.
Now I will. Thanks.
Yeah. Now That's gonna be every time we hear it and sing it now. It's gonna be awesome.
That's funny. Well, they were kind of that album. They were kind of the MTV satanic rock band. You know what I mean? Not that they were, but that was like, okay, we can get this on MTV, but we can't get. Did you lose us?
Who, me? He's on mute again.
Unmute. See where it says mute?
I don't think he can't hear us though. There he goes.
Can you hear it?
All
right.
Are you there?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think my Wi-Fi went out.
Okay.
Yeah, it muted you.
So
you know what's funny, man? Like the I never really got scared, like, and nothing ever really like made me nervous as a music guy. Like, wow, that's kind of freaky. But I do remember seeing Aerosmith in
Sergeant Pepper's?
Yes.
That freaked me out too.
And my aunt took. I saw it in the movie theater with my aunt, and when they came on, I was like, "Wow, these guys are fucking weird, man." But I dug the song, you know. I like the way they did it.
Yeah,
I was like, that's the only thing in that whole fucking movie that stuck with me, because I think the movie's pretty bad, but but that scene with Aerosmith doing "Come Together" was like, oh shit.
Yeah, I've never seen that.
That Sgt. Pepper, the soundtrack to that album, which is all Beatles songs, as you guys know, done by Bee Gees, and then a couple of other people. Aerosmith does "Come Together" and a couple other things, but that's how I'd never heard any of those songs by the Beatles. That's how I heard those songs the first time, was on that soundtrack album. And I think I got it at our grocery store in my little 23,000 capacity town. They sold records for a time, and then they decided they weren't going to sell records, and so they were getting rid of everything for like $2. And I bought that record. Just I don't even remember why. I didn't even know what it was. I just bought it, and that was I listened to the shit out of that record, man. And I didn't know. I did. That was how I discovered the Beatles. Really, was through that album. So the Bee Gees were the gateway to the Beatles for me.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Hey, Kermie D says Billy Ocean's Lover Boy.
Made him feel uneasy. I don't think I know that one.
That's awesome.
What was there was one other one too that was creepy as fuck. We watch it now. Every time I see it now, I laugh my ass off. It's some, God damn it. He's like looking in the window. Is Eddie Muddy, maybe?
Oh, dude, I don't know.
I'm like, look at this motherfucker creeping outside this chick's window, man.
That's funny.
It's how things change. That's like Grown Man Record Night. You see, they found that VHS of how to take pictures of kids. Yeah,
wow.
It's for photographers who are doing, families and kids, but it looks all creepy now. It's like how to take pictures of children.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. All right, so like you kind of mentioned real quick, now you're in the live entertainment kind of industry.
Yes, I work for a very large concert. Yes, yeah. Nice. I work for a very large concert promoter, and I have for the last 13 years. Lionel Richie, George.
That's it. That's the one. Fucking creepy as fuck. Look, is it Hello? I think. I think it's Hello.
That clay sculpture was really creepy too. In Hello,
everybody, go watch Hello after this, and he's like fucking stalking outside this. I'm pretty sure she's under 18 too.
He's watching a
blind girl.
Oh, I do remember that now.
I don't remember the blind girl part.
I think so.
Yeah, she was blind.
I think I was just shocked.
The video was blind.
I think I was just shocked.
Like she felt his face or something, and then she made the clay sculpture based on feeling his face.
I think I just started laughing fucking profusely when he was creeping at the window because I don't know any other part of that video.
That's funny.
Sorry about that, but go ahead, Fizz.
No, you're good. So I work for a concert promoter, and I'm I'm a contract administrator. So when contracts for bands come in, I go through them and basically redline them, take out things that we won't agree to, and add things that we want in a contract. And I've done, like I said, I've done that for the last 13 years. This last year, I've done very little of that because, as we all know, COVID has wiped out live music. But I feel very fortunate in that I still have a job, which a lot of my my coworkers or fellow industry workers don't have that. So, but it's been a slow year, to say the least, in the concert industry.
Yeah, man.
I know through your job, you've met a ton of people, right? I mean, I've seen pictures of you with all kind of people.
I have. I don't as much anymore. I used to work. I started for a concert promoter in Oklahoma City, and met quite a few people that way. And then I met a couple of people who I really, really enjoyed and looked up to, and they were not great people to meet, and it colored the way that I viewed their music. And so I am less inclined to go out of my way to meet somebody that I really appreciate these days, because I'd rather continue to enjoy their music than to find out they might not be great people.
That's the camp I'm in. I've never really wanted to meet anyone because I don't want it to fuck it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it will.
I bet.
I feel like I can say this because he's not in the band anymore. So I'm not necessarily talking out of school, but I love Tesla. I've loved Tesla for a long time. And I had a less than appealing meeting on multiple occasions with Tommy Skio, however you say his last name.
Yeah.
Which I thought he was the coolest dude in Tesla when he was in Tesla. He just looked the rock and roll part. But the couple of times that I met him, I don't think he was completely present mentally. I think he maybe ingested some stuff and just wasn't a pleasant guy to be around. And for the longest time, it was really hard. And still, sometimes it's hard for me to hear their music and not think about those experiences or those encounters. So
he hasn't been in the band since they got back together, right? Basically,
I think he started out. I think he was on Into the Now, which was like their first reunion record, and then I think they toured that one. And I remember. I was going to tell a story, then I decided not to. He left shortly. I think they did a tour after Into the Now, and then they did another like a 5-man acoustical jam tour, like just an acoustic tour. And I think after that tour, they booted him. And from my experience as just a little peon guy in the world, it probably was
the best.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
well, you said like you're going through contracts and you're redlining, hey, we can't do this, can't do that. Don't have to give us any names, but you've got to have seen some crazy requests.
There's one of the ones that makes me laugh a lot was there's a guy that was really big in the 90s. He was kind of a blue-eyed soul kind of love song ballad, really popular dude. Probably wouldn't take too much to figure out who I'm talking about. You could probably guess him within 2 or 3 names, but in 2000s he was already kind of no longer a popular guy, and in fact people probably made a lot of jokes about the guy. And but he came to our theater. Our theater is a smaller theater, the theater that I work out of, and he had asked, he wanted menus from 4 5-star restaurants, but they couldn't be printed off menus. They had to be the actual hard menu, like the restaurant menus. So imagine, like, I'm like, how do you even do that? Like, you have to drive to these restaurants and be like, hey, can I have one of your menus? And they're like, why? And you're like, because John Doe wants it. And they're like, John Doe, like, really? But he had to have the actual menus. And then he had he requested a quick change booth, which is just you use pipe and drape, make a little, basically a dressing room right off the stage, so they can change during the set. And you see that most often with people like Britney Spears or those kind of people that it's more show and they're changing outfits 10 times in a show. This guy, by this point, was probably in his 50s. So he had to have a quick change room. Yeah. Which is not completely unusual, but then he wanted 5-pound dumbbells in the quick change booth. So usually if you're in the quick change booth, it's because you're wanting to change quickly, but he's going in there while his band's doing some kind of sexy sax solo
to do some pumping.
And he's pumping 5-pound weights, right?
Right. Looking at the menu while he's doing it.
Exactly. And I could see him, like, I'm going to use the name John Doe again, but I could see him like looking in the mirror going, "You're John Doe. You're John."
Oh, no.
Yeah,
way.
you're John Doe.
I want to
right. So anyway, so that those are good stuff. And then you have people, like a lot of younger bands will ask for, like, I had a band ask for an 8-ball of drugs, and you're like,
out.
Right, yeah, and you're like, okay, I've been told that actually, like, that people will show up on the day of the show and they'll want some of that stuff, and I've been told that may or may not happen, but you don't put it on a legal document, right?
Right.
That you're wanting this stuff. It's a good way to for it not to happen.
That's awesome.
We have people. We had somebody that asked that they kind of pretended to be devil worship Satanists or whatever. I think there are some that actually are Satanists, but I think of Behemoth for one, but there's lots of bands that kind of play that role but aren't really, and so they ask for like a baby goat and some candles in their dressing room, and it's like, really, like, that's not, you're not gonna,
That's awesome.
And even if that is what you want to do, we don't want to have to clean up that mess in the dressing room afterwards, right? Like, we're not gonna do that. So and then people ask for, like, just random autographed. There's somebody that asked for an autographed 8x10 of Ethel Merman, which was a TV star from like the 50s. So the chances of getting an 8x10 autograph picture from her, it's non-existent.
The picture of B. Arthur naked.
Exactly. So, sometimes you see people and you can tell they're just having fun with it. And then there's some bands, I think, that maybe hear the stories of Van Halen with the brown M&Ms and think, well, this is what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to, you know what I mean? So,
right.
So it's interesting for sure.
Well, Dave always said they put the brown M&Ms thing in just to make sure they were paying attention.
Yeah, reading
that is absolutely the story. They want, and so, like, I have OCD, and I would imagine most record collectors probably have a tad of that to be collectors in the first place.
Yep.
But in a lot of ways that works against me in my life. But as someone who reads contracts all day, it actually works in my favor because I'm really anal about reading every line. And but yeah, the Van Halen thing was totally about making sure that someone was reading the writer. And if there were brown M&Ms in the bowl, then they knew that the stage may not be done right or whatever. And so it's kind of ingenious, but people don't hear that side of the story. They just hear no brown M&Ms. And they're like, oh, we want to be rock people too. And
right.
You know what I mean? So
even fucking M&Ms were like, all right, damn, we'll just take the brown M&Ms out. Didn't they take them both out?
I think they did.
So it's not all negative. So, I mean, you've got to have met like some really awesome people along the way too. Who's some of the coolest?
So I'm going to say his name wrong. The nicest guy that I met was a guy. His name was, I think it's Rami Jaffe, who used to be the keyboard player in the Wallflowers and now is the keyboard player for the Foo Fighters.
Okay.
But that dude was super cool. Melissa Etheridge was really nice. Kenny Aronoff, who's a studio musician, he started out as Mellencamp's drummer, but he's played with everybody. I think he plays with John Fogerty now. I think he's John Fogerty's drummer.
Kenny he comes in our shop.
Really? That's cool.
Yeah, he's a local guy.
Well, the experience that I had with him was positive. He was very nice.
Yeah, he's a nice dude.
Jeff Keefe, speaking of going back to Tesla and had the bad experience with Tommy, but Jeff, the lead singer, was super down to earth and cool and very unassuming. And so Mike Portnoy and that's big for me. He's my favorite musician, and I kind of got shoehorned into going back there, and I wasn't sure that I was going to like it, but he was really nice. He's just a big fan himself. He's just a music lover and a fan, and
that's cool. I'm not. We did that trade, I'm not like a huge fan, but that guy always comes off really cool. He just seems like he's a music guy. Seems cool. And same Dimebag is that way. I wasn't a '90s super Pantera fan, but it's always seemed like that dude's fucking cool. I bet he'd be cool to hang out with. You know what I mean?
So when I worked for the concert promoter in Oklahoma City, we did a show with Damage Plan, which was the band that Dime and Vinny did after Pantera, and it was I don't think that band did great in terms of numbers. I think they were playing a room that was like a 500 capacity room, and I didn't have any personal interaction, but I was there running the ticket booth that day, and I got there super early, and the ticket booth wasn't closed off, so it was just a big bar, and there was a spot in the corner.
Sweet.
And I saw Dime interact with some stagehands and stuff, and I think he was the genuine deal, man. He seemed just like what you saw on videos or whatever. That was him. Like it wasn't an act. Like he was a good dude. It seemed like, again, very limited amount of time, but I saw him when the cameras weren't on and the lights weren't on, and he was the guy that you see in the videos and stuff.
I don't think I've ever heard anybody say, that guy's a dick or whatever. But
so I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, what happened to him was like, again, not a fan, but what happened to him was like, holy God, man, that's just the worst,
Well, yeah, and even worse. Yeah, in some ways, I think it's even worse for Vinny. Because he's the guy that lived, and to see that happen to your brother, I just can't even begin to imagine. But I had a buddy that on that same Damage Plan show. He was a runner that day, which runners are people that are hired by the concert promoter to either go get guitar strings, or if the band wants to go eat someplace, you take them to the restaurant or whatever. And he took Dime to a mall and said that it was the funnest job that he ever had. Like Dime was just super cool and was asking him questions and wanting to know who he was, and it's a really cool experience.
Right on, man. It's awesome. I mean, you hear all the negative stuff, so-and-so's an asshole, so-and-so, blah, blah, blah. But man, there's cool people out there too in the thing. But like I said, I've always been like, I don't want to chance it. I don't want to meet, as a kid, I didn't want to meet Dio. Maybe I caught him on a wrong day, man, and that's just going to crush my world,
I've heard. I don't have any personal experience or even secondhand experience, but I've read stuff that he's a guy that you could catch on a bad day.
Yeah.
I love Dio, but I've heard that he wasn't always the best with interactions.
I had 3 encounters with Ronnie, and all 3 were positive, but I definitely could see if you rubbed him the wrong way, he would ignore you. Yeah, pretty much.
It's cool.
The same with like the only. I met Blackie Lawless a few times. I even interviewed him a pretty lengthy interview probably 20 years ago. And then I did a second interview with him, and he was such a dick. I told him to go fuck himself on the phone.
That's great.
Because I don't take any shit from these guys either. My first bad encounter with anybody was Jason Bonham.
Really?
And, oh yeah, dude. I was working for I guess I was working with the guys from Heaven's Edge at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's about the era, because they were there that night. Yeah, they were up in New York recording with Neil Kernan, and they were at the show. I forget. I think it was the Cult. Jason Bonham.
Bonham opened that. Yeah, yep. I remember that tour.
So we had tickets, like we went backstage and we were hanging out with those guys, and Jason Bonham had these two chicks, one on each arm, right? And dude, when I tell you he was such an arrogant asshole, that doesn't even. It's incredible how much of a dick he was. And my cousin, I had my little cousin Joe with me, and my cousin was an inspired drummer at the time, and this guy treated Joe like shit. Joe's like, "Fuck this, I ain't playing drums anymore." He quit playing drums, man. He was such a dick. So as he's walking out of the actually out of the building, because we were all walking out, and he had the two chicks, and he's walking like his shit doesn't stink. And I was like, he said something to one of the guys that worked at the Spectrum down in Philly at the time. And the guy like kind of looked at him like, "Who the fuck are you?" And I was right behind him. I looked at the security guard. I'm like, "Fuck that guy," like that too. And Jason Bottom swings around and he's only about 5 foot tall, I think. And I was like, "Yeah, fuck you, dude." And he just kept walking. I'm like, he was such a dick. And little did I know his singer, I didn't know anybody in the band, but the singer, I think his name was Daniel McMaster.
Daniel McMaster. Yeah.
He was right behind me, and he didn't say a word. So I had a feeling
he's like, "Fuck that guy too."
I think the cracks were starting to appear even at that time with that band. Yeah. But he was such a dick, man.
You should have told him, "Man, your dad was a good drummer."
Well, that's the thing. Like, yeah, your pop was a fucking great drummer, and you just like you're living off the name, which is fine. And he's not a terrible drummer in his own right. He's a pretty decent drummer, but he was such an asshole, man.
Evidently, he was like hardcore partier and all that through the 80s and all. So it's
the son.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Well, I think didn't the singer die? Didn't he? Didn't that Daniel McMaster die of AIDS or something like that?
I think so. Yeah. I think so. So, and you talked about Blackie Lawless. When I worked for another concert promoter in another life, we did a show with him at the 500 capacity room again, and he had this huge microphone stand that had springs on it and stuff, but it weighed like stupid, like 1,500 pounds, like an insane amount of weight.
There's so many stories about that thing. Dude.
Yeah.
And if you couldn't accommodate his stand, he would cancel the fucking show. It's a 500 capacity room. Like that stage is not made for that much in one spot. Like it was insane. And it would be one thing. You're willing to accommodate those kinds of crazy requests if you're making, a few $100,000 off of it. Someone like Paul McCartney, if he wanted to ask for something like that, you're probably way more inclined to go out of your way to make that happen, right? Because the amount of income that you're going to make. But this is a 500 capacity room. Like you're not in a position to be making these kinds of requests, right. Blackie. But
yeah, fuck Blackie Lawless.
I've heard bad things about
and then he went fucking all Christian, like born again Christian. I'm like, get the fuck out of here with that. He's still an asshole, man. Like, just because you're born again Christian, you're still an arrogant prick, man. Like, I don't get that whole thing, man. And like, he won't do like fuck like a beast anymore live because now he's too Christian for it. It's like, whatever.
Right. Have you guys seen the trailer for that Chris Holmes documentary that's coming out?
I can't.
It's depressing. It's only like a minute and 30-second trailer, but it's like there's no way I could watch this. Like it's the most depressing thing.
He's been depressing for the last 5 or 10 years. Just everything I see about him on the internet, and I'm like, dude, just stop.
Well, for as much
you got to go do something else, man.
Yeah.
For as much as I fucking hate Blackie Lawless right now, anyway, I love Chris Holmes, man. I really do. He's a fucking. I know he went through all that alcohol shit and it fucked him up. It did. He's not the same guy he was in the 80s. He's not at all. Yeah. I don't know. I think there was more to it than the alcohol. But I'll tell you what, when he did that El Dorado tour, when he came back,
Mm-hmm.
Or no, the Kill Fuck Die tour. We were in New York. I hung with that dude for like 8 hours that one day, and he was the most down to earth, nicest fucking. Just like to sit and talk music, and he fucking hated Blackie then.
I'm sure.
I'm sure. He's overseas now, right?
He's in France. Yeah, he's in France, I think.
But I've heard some of the music he's tried to do, and it's just like, no, man.
Yeah.
Well, girl, I think he's got his wife's his manager kind of thing, and it's like, you know, instead of hiring a singer, you might as well get paid twice because you're the singer and the guitar. You know, it's just it doesn't work for him.
Right.
So I don't.
But if Blackie Lawless ever sees this, fuck you, dude. Blackie Guzman. Steve Guzman, whatever his fucking name is. Dude, I used to love that guy, man. And like I said, we did the interview. I swear the interview was over an hour long. And just talking music and different Wasp things and the sister stuff. And I guess I must have called him on the bad day for that second interview. But then when we went to New York and I hung out with Chris a lot that day, Blackie was just a fucking cunt. He really was, man. It's a shame. And I'm like, dude, I was hoping like the first interview went so well, like the second interview, I was all psyched. Like, man, I'm really going to fucking blow his mind. Because I kind of blew his mind in the first interview, picking his brain on just old Wasp shit. And he was really getting into like talking and going through shit. And then the second time, he was just like, are we done yet? It's like, dude, I asked you one fucking question. I was like, never mind. I got to go.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I haven't really met anybody. Like I said, I've always avoided it. And
I've been pretty lucky. I mean, knowing the dudes in Brittany Fox all these years, you know, being friends with them. So anybody that came through Philly, I was pretty much, if I wanted to meet them, I could. Like,
I've met the Rat Child guys and the Kicks guys, but they're local guys to me. So I don't really think of it that way.
That's the way I look at those guys. They're you know, Mike and Johnny are like my brothers. You know what I mean? I don't look at them as, you know.
Right.
So, it's weird. It's still weird. Like when we go out, like we haven't in a while, but like if Mike and I are somewhere or Johnny and I are somewhere, like a record store, it still amazes me around here. Like people will be like, yo, are you that dude from Brittany Fox? Or
all these years later.
Yeah, I'm like looking at Mike like this. I mean, like it's like a 15-year-old kid, you know?
Yeah, that's
like,
cool.
What the fuck? Hey, it's weird. And he even gets thrown by it.
You were talking about Philadelphia bands. When I first started working in the concert industry, and I was just a big music lover, just a fan. And I still am. But I got a phone call one day, and this is back in Oklahoma City, and a guy called, and he goes, "Yeah, I'm with a band called Naked Beggars, and we're trying to book shows throughout the country, and we're wondering if you're interested in our band." And so I didn't have the ability to say yes or no, but he continued to talk, and he goes, "So my name is Jeff LaBar, and I was the guitar player in Cinderella," and I was just like that, and I was like, like I was like, holy shit. And so I'm like, yeah, I know who you are. And it was him and Eric from Cinderella were the two guys in that band, and they were just calling to try to book gigs. But I think he said he was painting houses at the time.
Yep.
So it was like I couldn't believe it that he was calling to book shows, and I still love Cinderella's music, like that third album, Heartbreak Station. Yeah, I freaking love that album, man. Mm-hmm. And even the one after that, Still Climbing, I think is really good. But it was so random to get a phone call from
right, that's
Jeff LaBar. And the way that he said it, he was like, "You're not going to know who I am. I'm this guy named Jeff LaBar. I used to be in Cinderella," and I was just like, "Holy shit!"
Now I've never heard of that band. Did they record and release anything? Or
I think they released one CD. Mm-hmm. And as I recall, for me personally, it wasn't awesome. But I think they had a. I feel like they had a female lead singer. Not that makes it not awesome, but it was. I think it was Eric. I think you're right. I think it was Eric's maybe wife at the time,
Yeah, it was.
current
Yeah,
wife
you're
or
right.
something.
Yep.
Was the singer. And I think it was Eric's band to begin with, and then he brought Jeff in. But it wasn't, to my recollection, it wasn't wonderful.
Yeah, it was basically what that was her band, and then her and Eric met, and then Eric and her, Eric joined her band, and then a little, I guess, a year or two down the road, Jeff joined, but he didn't last very long. Jeff's got some issues with the bottle. That's why Cinderella's not doing anything.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's been Kiefer's talked about it a lot over the last couple years now. Like the last two solo Kiefer records probably could have been the Cinderella albums if Jeff were sober. But he doesn't, he doesn't want anything to do with Jeff while he's drinking. He doesn't want any of that shit. But Tom's always been like that. He doesn't want any of that shit backstage. Like, I remember being backstage with Tom and those guys, I don't know, 15 years ago, playing a club up in North Jersey. And we're all sitting around having smokes, and Kiefer walks in, and Eric's like, "Oh, everybody put him out." It was that kind of thing. So I know for a fact, like, there was no booze backstage then. So, I mean, and it was funny because it was like me, Tom, my buddy Dan, and Eric sitting around just bullshitting, and fucking LeBar and Curry are all like pissed off because there's no fucking booze. Or it's like, I don't know, man. I don't mind drinking and that shit, but it's like, there's a reason why these guys aren't together, and if it's because of that, and Jeff doesn't want to do anything about it when they could go out every fucking summer and make a lot of money. But
it's gonna be hard on a band, one extreme to the other. When you got one guy that's a booze hound, fuck it up, and you got one guy that wants to be straight edge. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's like Tom. Tom's like, to him, it's now it's a business. He did that fun part of that shit early on, and it's like, now Tom still does it for the music. He doesn't do it for anything else but the music. And that's not the case with the other guys. That's why they're not involved with it. So
yeah,
I remember. I'm sorry. Go ahead, George.
I said I was going to say the only thing. I think Eric is the only one that is gung ho about doing music, and the rest, the other two could care less. I think.
Eric's with Bret Michaels now. He's playing with Bret Michaels, and then Fred does music. Like music soundtrack, like not songs, but like incidental music for TV shows and stuff. So, but one of my favorite concerts from my high school days was Cinderella on the Long Cold Winter tour with the Bullet Boys, and I think it was Winger. I think it was a 3-bill. And at the end of the night, they all came out and played Jumpin' Jack Flash together or something.
That's cool.
That was a really great. It was a really great show. Cinderella was great. Great.
Cinderella put on that tour. They really kicked ass that tour. I thought.
I saw them open for David Lee Roth on Eat 'Em and Smile. I guess it was. They were great that tour, man.
Dude, David Lee Roth, I saw him on the Skyscraper tour, and that single-handedly is the most disappointing show I've ever seen in my life. Like,
I can see that.
Yeah, he was out of his mind on something, and he would forget the words to half the songs, and he had so many production elements, like he would want to rappel from the top of the rafters, but it would take 5 minutes to get him up there. So they would play this incident, this just random noodling music. If there was. And then he went to the back of the arena so he could get on the surfboard and come back. And
right.
But in order for him to do all that stuff, it took time. So like for every song, there would be like a 5-minute buildup of just random noodle. Like it was a bad concert. Wow. David Lee Roth, man.
Well, that's when he started losing his voice anyway.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. Out of that concert, what I remember was Steve Vai and goddamn, the bass player.
Billy Sheehan.
I mean, they stole the show, of course. Those guys doing all the shit they were doing.
Yeah.
And Roth was just kind of there. You know what I mean? He was doing his Roth thing.
Right.
Yeah, Ross. I love the guy, man, but sometimes it's like, God damn, dude, just shut up.
Yeah.
Like, why do you have to be on all the time, man?
Him and Ted Nugent.
Well, I thought, you know what I thought was really funny? I don't know if you guys will remember this or even if you guys saw it, but when The Sopranos was huge, there was a scene in The Sopranos with Ross in it.
I never realized that.
He's playing There's a poker scene. He's sitting around the table with the guy. I can't remember who he's sitting with, but it's part of the crew, I guess. And once somebody looks over and does a double take, and they're like, "Yo, is that David Lee Roth?" And they're like, "Yeah." And they pan over to Roth, and Roth's like so subdued and so like normal, and they're like, you're all hyped, and Roth's like, "Hey man, how you doing?" And he goes right back to the cards, and the guy like looks at him like, "Wait a minute, are you sure that's Roth?" It's funny, man. Like, I mean, I don't actually know if he says, "Are you sure that's Roth?" But the way he's playing it, Roth's playing it in that scene, it's like it's total opposite of what he is. Yeah. But he's an interesting fuck, man.
For sure. But I think about Van Halen, and when they first broke up, the Van Halen brothers didn't have a lot of great things to say about David Lee Roth, and I think he was a great front man. And I love those first 6 Van Halen albums as much as anybody, but I think it would be really hard to coexist with that guy 24 hours a day on a tour bus
he is the definition of lead singer syndrome. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's no way.
Yeah.
I watched an interesting video on YouTube. It's like 3 or 4 parts, I think. It's from Sound City. What's the studio they recorded those first 4 or 5 albums in?
Oh,
Sunset Studio.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's very interesting. It's got the owner from that studio plus a couple engineers, and it's in depth, man. Yeah, I mean it's really nerdy towards the engineer part and all that, but just hearing them talking about some of that stuff, like one of the engineers had what's up, Rodney? One of the engineers had talked to Ted Templeman, the producer, and basically, Gene Simmons couldn't get him signed, but Templeman did. And the engineer talking to him, just a few years back, and he's like, "Look, man, we signed a guitar player. Roth was just part of the bundle. The whole deal was, it was all about Eddie Van Halen, and their whole deal, and you can hear it in those first 4 albums. It was like, we want to get you guys down. We want to get that sound that you get live. So there's not a bunch of overdubs and all that kind of stuff. It was like they come in, they played live. It didn't take them a shit ton of time to record that stuff, And it's a really interesting video if you can find it on YouTube. They're pretty good.
Well,
I'm sorry. Go ahead, George.
Well, I was going to say that's what they. I forget what I was going to say. Go ahead.
I just this year I read Ted Templeman's biography, I highly recommend it if you like those kind of rock bio stuff.
Yeah,
it had a ton of stuff about Van Halen, and you're right about them, recording the band live. But apparently they spent a ton of time on David Lee Roth's vocals. Like the band would do their stuff, and then he would have David stay and really work with him on getting vocal takes, because Templeman said he said that he wasn't a gifted singer. He was unique, and he was willing to work hard to get a performance. Like he was saying that Roth would put in the effort, but he said what people don't realize is the vocal melodies and the lyrics to those, especially the first couple albums. Roth came up with those vocal melodies and the lyrics, and he was saying, Templeman was saying that that was integral in terms of those first couple albums. So it's a great read. I can't recommend that book any more than I am.
I have to look for that, man. It sounds interesting.
I just think Roth is like one of those guys that he just has a gift for writing lyrics. You know what I mean? Yeah. Some of the lyrics don't make sense, like Panama. If you read the lyrics, You're like, what? I mean, he's singing about a Panama hat, basically. But you would never know that.
Yeah.
Well, they were saying when they first came with Templeman, they brought him in and they did those early demos and they did like 24, 25 tracks.
Yep.
Which basically ended up being their first 4 or 5 albums. You know, they kept drawing from that.
Yeah.
Right.
And that engineer had been into the archives at Warner and all that. And he's like, you guys, you know, we got to clean these up, put them out, you know, put a box set thing out, but whatever. But he was saying that after they did those first demos, they were down for like 4 months or something and getting ready to go in and actually cut the album. And they said during those 4 months, Dave, you know, disappeared and went and got vocal training, you know, kind of on his own. So it said, he knew, but he was trying, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
But look, and everybody kind of says that Dave's not the best singer in the world, but Dave's the fucking Dave is who everybody is compared to when you're a singer of that era, you know.
Absolutely.
Dave's not. Yeah, Dave's not anywhere near what he used to be. But I mean, when Eddie died, I went through, I don't know, 10 old radio shows that they had done from the early days, and I'll tell you what, man, he was fucking awesome back in the day, man. Yeah. Like there was rarely any shitty, out of key singing on all those old Van Halen bootlegs, you know.
I feel like early Roth. I agree with you, George. And I think the only time that he was bad was when he'd had too much, when he'd partied too much before the show. Those were the only times. But you know, you can't. He was the ringleader, man. Like you can't. He was a showman. Like he was, and then he had such a unique, his scream. I'm not even going to try to do it. That little, whatever that little.
Nobody's done that. Scream? I don't think ever since.
You couldn't replace any of those guys and have it the same. And they did it with Hagar, but it wasn't the same, right? Totally different band. And
that's why Roth. I mean, I was always on the Roth side, man. Like I honestly do believe he had a problem with the music that Eddie was doing.
Michael Cron says Dave Lee Roth used auto-tune. I'm pretty sure auto-tune didn't exist back then.
Yeah, back in the 70s, there was no such thing. Yeah. What was I saying? The
Hagar, Roth. You always landed on Roth's side.
Yeah, because when you hear the stories about him writing all the keyboard stuff, which is fine, it's totally different than what they were doing. But his whole thing was like, Ed, man, you're a fucking rock. You're a fucking guitar icon. Why are you doing this shit? And it's like, Eddie was just like, dude, we just want to play music. We don't give a shit what it sounds. Not we don't give a shit what it sounds like, but pretty much they don't want to get lumped into that. Keep doing the same shit over and over again.
Right. And
it's like, I could see where Roth was like, fuck that, man. Like, let's just do, why change the recipe now? But I think I also, on the other hand, when we were saying that they recorded all those early records pretty much live, except for 1984. They spent a lot of time on that fucking record, from what I understand.
Yeah, that was their Hysteria or whatever, I guess.
Yeah, and that killed. I think when you get into a studio for that long with those 4 guys, it killed whatever morale was left at that point. When you're in that situation for that long a time with 4 or 3 other guys, and you're not getting along with them as to begin with, that had to suck, man.
I feel like in the Templeman book, he was saying 1984, that was the last album that Ted did with them for, and I think he came back and did a part of the recording on For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge, but 1984, I feel like he was saying that Eddie and the engineer on those albums, a guy named Don Landy, were kind of maybe Eddie finally had 5150 in place, so he didn't have time limits on recording, and apparently he was doing massive amounts of cocaine with Don Landy, and they would just stay in the studio and come up with all this random piano music and and he, without the constraints of having studio time, like he could be in there as long as he wanted to. Like Ted was trying to kind of corral that, and Eddie and Don were kind of gacked out of their mind, and that is some of the issues that started to happen in 1984 in terms of the length of time that it took, and I think also created some of the divide with Roth.
Yeah, I mean, if you go back and listen to '84, personally, I don't think it's a great record. I mean, you have Jump, you have Panama, and you have Hot for Teacher, 3 of the biggest fucking Van Halen songs ever. But the rest of the album was just, It is what it is, you know.
That and Diver Down, both those albums were.
See
see the writing on the wall.
You could definitely tell there was cracks in the foundation.
Yeah. Absolutely. It was interesting that engineer talking about going into the archives at Warner Brothers, and they're like, well, what all's in there? And he's like, that early demo is in there. And then you may have 2 takes of a song, maybe, but that's it. So there's not a lot of extra stuff. And he said, you have to remember at that time, if it wasn't a take you were going to keep, they just scrapped it and got rid of it. But that dude was like, where the stuff is at 5150 studio. Mm-hmm. When Ed opened that, and he was a kid in a candy store, he said there's gotta be some just whacked out crazy shit in there. And he's like, hopefully Wolfgang and Alex will go through that stuff and start releasing some of that stuff.
I just want the remastered demos, man. I want to hear it because they're fucking kick ass, dude. All 25 tracks.
Yeah.
Stern actually asked Wolfie today about going through the library, the vault, and Wolf said he wasn't ready to do that yet. And then Stern said, well, what about Alex? Will Alex go do that? And Wolf said that'll probably be something that we do together. He said it'll definitely happen, but I'm just not ready to do it yet. So who knows? Yeah, I'm wondering. I know that I know that Eddie had such animosity towards Sammy for so long. I'm wondering if we'll finally get reissues of the Hagar era Van Halen on vinyl.
Yeah, they made up before he passed.
Right.
So I'm hoping, like you said, I mean, I think the only Hagar record that I would want on vinyl is For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge, maybe. That's a great record.
That's the best Hagar record, I think. I love 5152, and I actually like Balance. I don't love OU812. That's the weak link for me in the Hagar era.
Yeah.
I dug the first 2, and what was the second one? OU812?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of, I don't know, I didn't follow much after that. But again, George doesn't like that era as much, but it's 2 bands. Everybody says that, it's the Hagar or it's the Raw. And I definitely view it that way. So
the sad part is for me is like I liked Hagar. I mean, I still do.
Right.
But I was so bitter over not bitter. I guess I was so bummed that Roth was gone. I was just like, fuck, man, come on. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I was a huge Hagar fan before. I remember when he announced he was joining, it was like, why the fuck would he join them? He's kick ass by himself, man.
Yeah, I said the same thing.
I don't know why I remember this, but for my 6th grade birthday, I vividly remember getting 3 cassette tapes from friends. One was Night Ranger, Midnight Madness, and then Van Halen 1984 and Sammy Hagar VOA. And I love that VOA album. I thought Dick in the Dirt, for a 6th grader, Dick in the Dirt was like the most funny, it was the first time that I kind of got the tongue in cheek. I was just old enough to kind of figure it out, and I was just like, oh my God, this is amazing. But
it was like Jay Giles' band Piss on the Wall.
Oh yeah, totally.
I was a huge fan of 3 Lock Box and Standing Hampton and all that, man. I remember I remember the MTV had a concert from the 3 Lock Box tour, man.
I remember that.
Was awesome. Yeah.
Man, those MTV concerts were great.
Yeah. Why reissue them? Somebody get them, figure out what the fuck you got to do, and put those things out, man. They were awesome.
you guys remember the April Wine concert that was on MTV?
Yeah, that's.
I think it was right around Nature of the Beast.
Yeah, it was like from London, if I remember right.
Yeah,
that's been put out. That's been put out on.
Has it?
Yeah,
I
it was
need to track
initially
that down.
It actually came out on Laserdisc, like in Japan years ago.
Oh wow!
But yeah, it's been out on DVD. I have a boot of it. That's one of my favorite, dude. If you watch that thing now, it's like so tripped out with all the bad effects and everything.
Oh shit, I remember that. Yeah, you said that. Yep.
Love that era.
That's crazy.
So,
and of course, the Journey in Houston on the Escape tour was a big one.
Yeah.
And there was an REO Speedwagon one from the High Infidelity tour that I remember they showed all the fucking time.
Judas Priest, the Screaming for Vengeance tour.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
There was a shit ton of them, man. I mean that was the thing.
Yeah.
It was awesome back then.
It was.
All right. Well, we ended up down a Van Halen rabbit hole, man. That was pretty crazy when expecting that. Do you guys want to share a few records here before we get out?
Sure.
Usually we do the boot in the ass, show a record, some bootlegs real quick. You got anything, Fitzzy?
As far as bootlegs, I only pulled one. I pulled this is
might want to take in full screen.
Black Sabbath Unorthodox, and this is one side of it is recorded in 1978 in Pittsburgh, and then the other one's 75 in Philadelphia. And
right on. Is that an older pressing or?
Yes, this is probably
80s maybe.
Yeah, I would guess so. Anyway, there you go. Black Sabbath. Cool.
Right on. I pulled out a couple ones I've spun this week. First one from Fitzy's area down in Dallas.
Nice.
So, this is on Mind Control. Will come out this year. 2 LP set. This thing sounds great, man.
That's awesome.
About that. And I got this a while back, 2 or 3 months ago. Spun it. It doesn't sound very good, but it was kind of cool to add to the collection.
Oh, I saw that.
Nice.
One. Yeah, I was like, I'm trying to remember. There's the
Italy.
Yeah, but it's rough. It's definitely an audience recording, and is what it is. Yeah, I mean, you get that with the boots.
Yeah, especially when you know the artwork's better than the actual sound.
Yeah, and this one definitely fits in that category, man.
That's cool.
Is that Nelson behind you?
Yeah, that's Aaron, Metal Theologian. Fucking loves that band. I told him I had the vinyl. Yeah, show it.
I know. Nice. It's his favorite band.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's weird. He always asks me if I find bootlegs on them and shit. I'm like, dude, did they even play live?
He actually has a lock of Gunner's hair.
Yeah, after he chopped it all off,
that's awesome.
I'll show you. Here we go. This is now I told Greeno this is semi bootleg because I think it's ridiculous. But last week, Dangerous Toy or Cleopatra put out a Dangerous Toys live record.
Oh wow!
Right,
that's cool.
And I was like laughing when I got it because it's not the fucking regular Dangerous Toys clown. It's just some rando clown.
Right.
That's funny.
And it's got Pissed, Pain Train, Loser. But it's weird. Like I thought it was a live record, but it turns out it's just like I don't know.
Best of.
Kinda. I don't know what the fuck it is, to be honest with you.
And what's it on Cleopatra?
Yeah.
Those fucking guys. Man.
I should have known better. But it's like this is what I don't understand too. Like you get a cool I mean, it's a cool cover. Don't get me wrong. The clown's not really the Dangerous Toys clown, right? So it's like, oh, it's on colored vinyl. They decide they put it on fucking pink vinyl. Like, what does that pink vinyl? There's like no pink anything to do with pink. So I was
that's awesome.
But I had to get it because I love Dangerous Toys. But I think a lot of it's taken from that one CD they put out 20 years ago with some live shit on it. But I got a couple other new ones too.
Hey, real quick, Aaron. Aaron asked if what you thought about his fly on the wall he got. Remember I was telling you he would mention you in that last video.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I have to go back and look. I'll watch it tonight before I go to bed, and I'll let you know.
He got an Albert pressing.
Oh
yeah. Oh, okay.
Nice.
Speaking of AC/DC, here's might as well just show the vinyl.
Right on.
I thought it was cool. It's like a super high gloss.
They kind of went all out on all this packaging. I've seen the CD box that lights up and
yeah, that's right behind me somewhere.
Of course it is.
Right there. I should have turned it on. But like the inside's like pretty killer. And then I like that this one's from Mal.
Yeah.
Right on.
That's cool.
But yeah, I'm happy with it, man. You know. And then
I'll probably definitely grab it. Just waiting on find it cheap somewhere.
Now here's what to do, man. There's so many fucking versions of this record right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's like it's crazy because it's like you can go order the yellow one, which I don't know if they still have it, but the yellow one through the band itself, like that's the super limited one. And then I didn't get that one yet. That should be in the mail, which kind of pisses me off because a lot of people got it the day of release, you know, and I ordered mine the day they went on sale, and mine's not showing up till this Friday or something. But then Walmart has the red vinyl version.
Right on.
So I picked that up. And then
how many versions you got already?
Dude, I'll probably have 5. Well,
by the end of the week.
I'll have 5 on vinyl by the end of the week.
Oh my god.
Because the yellow one hasn't shown up yet. I got a normal black one. And then Target has like this box with a t-shirt in it.
Yeah.
So it's like a super thick packaging on it that looks totally different. So my wife's like, just go up and get 3 of them today, you know, like for everybody, for the 2 kids, you know, 2 boys. So I was like, all right, that's fine. So then I find out there's like a silver vinyl pressing overseas. I'm like, I'm fucking done. Like I love the album, but I'm not getting them all.
You will eventually.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, and then it pissed me off because Fitzzy, you mentioned the $15 Walmart. Best Buy did the same shit too this weekend. Yeah, I missed it all.
I just happened to catch somebody on Facebook saying all the vinyl at Walmart's $15. So I drove up there. Again, I don't frequent Walmart, but I drove up there, and that kind of retailer, they don't know how to handle their vinyl, and so half of their vinyl is beat up to begin with. But they had 2 copies of the new AC/DC, and one of them wasn't beat up. So I grabbed that, and I was surprised that it was $15. And I grabbed
that's crazy, man.
I grabbed Eric Clapton Unplugged, which I'm not a huge Clapton fan. I like some of the stuff on Unplugged, but I never would have spent $30 on that vinyl. But for $15, I pulled the trigger. So
yeah,
cool. That's what they should cost all the time.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, they're killing it.
Especially now. I mean, vinyl's not selling anywhere else but independent stores, man. That's why you're seeing these guys dump this vinyl for $15 because people aren't buying it there. You know, maybe the collectors, like guys like us, like if Barnes and Noble did a fucking limited blue vinyl pressing of the AC/DC, you know, I would have went down there and picked it up because I'm a fucking idiot. But
I just want the black pressing for $15. I'll be happy.
Yeah. Right. God damn, it just drives me nuts. This time's worse than ever, man. Because like Rock or Bust, I don't think they did. They had the lenticular cover. How do you say that word?
Keep on. Go, you can get it.
Lenticular cover.
There you go.
So I thought that was cool, but then it was like, yeah, it's still 40 fucking bucks list on that one. I was like,
I found that somewhere. I can't remember what I paid for. It wasn't much. I mean, it was less than 20, I think.
Sony, dude, the Sony has a thing about putting big band. They did that with Springsteen too. This this last Springsteen record. You know, this has only got one album in it, and the packaging's like the high gloss cover, but other than that, there's nothing really special about it, I guess, like any other record.
Yeah.
But like they did that with the, that list on that's still 34 or something, 38, which is fucking ridiculous for one album. But the Springsteen, same label, I think the list on that was 44 for a double one.
Hey, pull up that last comment down there. That's for you, George.
Australian ones? I do. I have I need a couple like first pressing ones. Like I've never pulled the trigger on pricing on those, but I have a few of the first press high voltage, and I think that's and TNT. That's the only original press Australian I have. I have all the reissues from 1981. But other than that, I don't have. That's the only first press ones. The black label ones, I think they are, or dark blue. But if I see them,
I may have one from Australia. But
yeah, if I see anything on Albert, I'll usually just grab it. But it's always like the Brian Johnson era stuff. I never hardly ever see the Bond stuff. Oh yeah, I wanted to tell you this kid. I got this. This has been out for a couple years now. Ron Gallo. Heavy Meta is the name of the record. He's a local kid, but he's on that New West Records.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But we've been playing this in the store since it came out in 03 or 03. Jesus, since it came out 3 years ago.
What kind of music?
Independent, indie. It's like indie. It's so hard, with these new kids coming up. The kid's a guitar player. I want to. It's like indie rock, but
good, because I can't classify new shit either.
Yeah.
My daughter sent me something the other day. She's like, "Hey, can you steer me in something that kind of sounds like this?" And I listened to it, and I'm like, I don't know. And it was kind of that indie weirdo kind of. I'm like, maybe check out Ben Folds 5, or maybe check out some old Tom Waits. And I know she's like, that doesn't sound anything like that. But I'm like, I don't know what the fuck this stuff is anymore, man. It's because everybody pulls from everything now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
If you guys go on my Facebook page, I posted a video of him. It's a 3-piece band doing a live track from it's called "Put the Kids to Bed" is the name of the song. And I think there's also an actual video for it. But if you go on my Facebook page, I posted a live session thing he did, and that smokes, man. That's better than the studio version, I thought.
That's cool.
But it's like a 3-piece band. They make noise. You know what I mean? The kid's a pretty good guitar player. It's just not. It's gonna be something you have to get used to. If you're not into that whole vibe of, you know what I mean. It's not straightforward hard rock. It's not. It's kind of all over the place. But Dave at the shop, who's like my dad's age, a little younger than my dad, he loves this kid. He's like, "Oh, you got to hear this." And he played it. I'm like, "Yeah, it's all right." He played it so much that I'm like, I fucking love this record, man. I finally, somebody brought one in used, so I was like, fuck, I'll buy it.
Nice.
But definitely check out "Put the Kids to Bed" from Ron Gallo. I love that song.
Hey, you could probably take that comment down.
Oh, shit. Look at me.
You got anything new, Fitzzy, you want to show?
I don't really have anything new, but I don't make YouTube videos anymore. So I just decided I'd pull a couple of the records that mean the most to me, or that I'm most proud to have, or whatever.
Awesome.
And so I got
dude, that's awesome.
Badlands Voodoo Highway, which I love. That first Badlands album is one of my favorites of the era. And this one's really.
Can I guess the pressing on that?
You know what? Sure, you can guess it. It probably is not as much as you think it was.
I'm going to say it's the 91 that came out. German pressing.
It is. Yes, it is a German pressing. Yes.
I'm still chasing that, man. That's awesome.
The only reason, Fitzzy, I know that is because I was working with Mike and John from Brittany during the Bite Down Hard set album, and that came out around the same time and Kicks Hotwire. We were all label mates, and all three records, we were all disappointed that we weren't getting a vinyl pressing here in the States.
Yeah.
None of us knew about the UK or the German pressings until like 10 years ago. I saw one on eBay, and Mike from Brittany calls me. He's like, "Yo, what the fuck is that Bite Down Hard on eBay on vinyl?" I'm like, it's got to be a bootleg, dude. It has to be. So I went and I ordered it, and it's not a bootleg.
Nice.
I was like, "Oh shit, man!" So then I had to get one for him, and it was the whole thing. But it's like we literally didn't find out that it was on vinyl for a good 20 years after the album came out.
So where did you get the Badlands? Discogs, or did it show up in a shop?
No, so I have a buddy of mine who is a record dealer in Oklahoma City, and I kind of have given him a grail list of things that I'm looking for, and he reached out to me. It's probably been 2 years ago now, 2 or 3 years ago now, and it's like, "Hey, I got 2 of these in stock," and I was like, "Okay," I don't think he realized that he had me over a barrel. I would have come up with the money, whatever it was.
Hey, you can let me know if he has that other one still.
He doesn't. He sold it to a buddy of mine, but he gave me a really fair price on it. So I was very fortunate. And then here's another one that I'm pretty proud of. The Karabi led Motley Crue self-titled album. This is my favorite Motley Crue album. It's really hard to come by. Yep. I don't think they'll probably ever reissue it because they pretend that the Karabi era ever existed. But I love John Karabi. The Scream, the album that he was in before that, that's on my grail list now. That's one of the ones I want to get. But the drum sound on that album, the Tommy Lee's drum sound on that album is just fucking insane.
I think I agree with you. That's probably, other than the first 2 Motley records, and I know I told Greeno this before, that's my next favorite Motley album.
Yeah.
And Karabi's a hometown boy.
Nice. So I got 2 more. These are just ones that I've been spinning recently, and
that's my girl right there, dude. So, if I were to leave my wife, it would be only for that chick right there. I love that. I do. Something about her, man.
Yeah. So this is Nashville Pussy. It's a live album, 10 Years of Pussy. Sorry for the glare. Anyway, it's great. I've been spinning that. And then this last thing is kind of out of left field. This is a Prague band called Arab Aspic. Shit. Arabs and Aspic.
Arabs Aspic shit. That's weird. I see titties on top of that.
Yeah, Arabs in Aspic is the name of that band. And let me take this.
That's Mibber's favorite kind of cover.
Yeah, Mibber loves that cover.
There you go, Mark. It's for you. And it's called Madness and Magic. And this is like, they're a new band out of Norway, but it's like 70s era prog. It's like if you mixed King Crimson and Gentle Giant and some Genesis, and then maybe throw in some harder edge version of like Uriah Heep type stuff. It's really good. I like it a lot. So that's it.
Right on.
Somebody brought these in, dude. I've been looking for this on vinyl for a long time. Probably like everybody on here. Somebody brought tits. I fucking love that guy, man. Check this out. The Toad record.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. I have that. Having a Karma pressing of that.
Their second album.
I've never seen that.
No, I haven't either.
But I've always, like, we've said before, I've always seen this first Toad record on lists for like, top whatever hard rock 1970, and it's like, well, I don't know what originals go for, but they're like fucking stupid money.
Yeah.
So I was off yesterday. Yeah, I didn't work yesterday, so I go in this morning, and Mike's like, this guy brought these boxes of CDs in. We don't normally buy discs. He's like, there's some decent stuff in there. So I'm like flipping through, and I see the first one. I was like, oh, this is that fucking thing I see on everybody's list. I'm like, all right, let me pop it on. So I popped it on, and both of us were like, oh shit, no wonder. This is pretty fucking good, man. So he's like, here, take these home and burn them.
Right on. Nice. I've never heard that second one.
Yeah, we actually listened to it today. That's the album we were listening to, because he was familiar with the first one, but you said he'd never heard of the second one.
Mm-hmm.
So we listened to the first half of it, because I think there's a lot of bonus tracks on that one. And I think out of the first 8 songs that we listened to, 7 of them were really good. There was one like acoustic-y kind of folk.
Right.
It kind of was not my thing, but
speaking of that kind of stuff, what did you think of the Paris Hall? Didn't you pick that up?
Oh yeah, that's killer.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
because that was one of the Record Store Day reissues, right?
Yep.
Right on.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and it was funny. Like when we got it in, like I remember reading. I might even talk to you about it, and maybe after we got it in. And I was like, why the fuck did we order this record? Like, I was looking at Mike, and Mike's looking at me, and we're looking at the cover. I'm like, this looks like one of those like bad 60s or 50s like Christian like independent rock records or something. So he's like, I don't know, man, because sometimes they just send us shit. I'm like, no, they don't. We ordered this fucking thing. So then I was I went back to the sheets, the order sheet, and I was like, oh, all right, I know what it is. So then I put it in the box, and I was I think we did a podcast that night or the next night. And Green was like, just buy it. Like, pick it up. I'm like, okay. I bought it without even listening to a note, just on his recommendation. I was like, I'm glad I did.
That's good album.
So this is real quick. It's funny. At my local record store, there's always more records than I have cash for at any given time, and I'm sure George is very familiar with people having stashes somewhere, but I've got a stash. It's in the easy listening section. Hopefully nobody comes, but that album, that Parish Hall, is in there waiting for me to go in and buy it. I have it hidden at my local record store. So if you're in the Dallas area, go look to the easy listening. If you're looking for a copy, maybe you can find it.
My son has a stash. My son has a stash at our store that I keep right by my desk. My oldest son, and I've noticed like a couple other times, like I'm like, like you look down and underneath the racks, it's like, what are those records doing there? And it's like somebody, and then I'll pull them out and put them behind the counter and just see if somebody later on comes up and
it's like, fuck, who grabbed it?
I'm like, I always tell people, I'm like, you don't have to stash anything. If you want us to hold it, we fucking hold it.
It ain't as much fun though, man.
I know, right? But we don't. Yeah, we don't. I know people get weird, like, oh, can you hold this for us? We don't care.
Yeah, Garner's the one turned me on to that Parish Hall.
Nice.
He did the same thing. He showed it. I mean, the same thing happened to me. When he showed it, I'm like, what the hell is that, man? And then him talking about it, then I got talking to him offline, and I checked it out, and I'm like, holy crap. I would have never known to pick that up, dude. I don't know how he came across it, but.
Yeah, the cover, I agree with George. The cover looks like it would be some kind of cheesy
it's a John Travolta gospel album or something.
Right, yeah.
So.
No, it's crazy. The only other new thing I picked up was the brand new album from Scumbag Millionaire.
I'm not familiar with those guys.
Yeah, Poor and Infamous. It's on Suburban. They sent a patch too. I just kept the patch in there. But if you like action rock, Greeno, like we like, this is their new one.
That's cool.
Killer.
Nice.
I didn't know it was coming out. It just happened to show up on our list. I'm like, what the hell is that? Because I know Deadbeat Records put out like one, not an original all new album, but like all their B-sides and shit, or not B-sides, all their 7 inches that they done.
Mm-hmm.
Deadbeat here in the States put this out.
Right on.
You get that for like, I think $13 on their website.
That's a great site, man, and they don't overcharge. You know?
Yeah, and this was their first album, Speed.
Cool. Check these guys out.
Yeah, it's a killer record. I feel like the Helicopters, Wild Hearts, AC/DC.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on a second.
And I don't know, Greeno, do you know these guys, the Cheats? From Pittsburgh?
It sounds familiar, dude. I may have something by them.
Yeah, they have a few albums out.
Yeah.
This is their latest one.
It's a cool cover.
Yeah, Cussing, Crying, and Carrying On.
That's a good name.
And it's cool. They signed, I mean, I know you don't like albums signed, but they signed, each member signed the back.
Right on.
But I think
Cool.
one of these guys or two of these guys were in Silver Tongue Devil from Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I remember them.
If I'm not mistaken, there's some kind of association with those guys in this.
Cool.
You brought up Helicopters real quick. I know I forgot you guys were big fans of those guys. Recently, I had a buddy that went through a pretty hard time in life, and I just every couple of days would check in on him, see how he was doing. Didn't think anything of it, and after he got through the hard time, he goes, "I've got something coming in the mail for you," and this showed up at my door.
Oh shit!
Hell yeah, dude!
Yeah,
Awesome.
Sorry for the glare. But I was super pumped. I forgot about you guys loving these. I think Greeno, you're the one that turned me on to these guys actually back in the day.
Right on. These guys are awesome. Them Backyard Babies, all that stuff.
Yeah.
That's killer. That's a great album, man.
Yeah, that's a good one. I think my favorite Helicopters record's Paying the Dues, which I think is their second album.
Yeah, it's got Dragon on that one.
Yeah, it's got like that purplish flame cover. Yeah, I like that record a lot.
They got a little bit of a Kiss sound on that album.
Don't be surprised. I think there's going to be a new Helicopters record this spring with Drake.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, I think they did some shows before quarantines, but I have a feeling that there's going to be a new Helicopters record.
That's cool and all, but man, I miss. Yeah, it won't be the same without. It was cool with Dragon, but I liked him with what was his name? Sticks, whatever. The guy that passed away, the tall, skinny guitar player.
Oh yeah, he died. I didn't know he died. Oh.
Yeah, I think so. They're a year or two ago.
Oh shit, I didn't know that. Or maybe I did, and I just didn't. I don't know. I'm so fucking tired of death, dude.
Yeah, the Dragon stuff's cool, but it's a little more punky, raw.
That's what I like. Yeah.
Yeah, I like when they got into the more MC5 Detroit sound and stuff.
Yeah.
You know? So, well, dude, we haven't done a video for a while, and I've been listening to a ton of crap, so I got to stack here. I'll get to him real quick.
Oh, did you see how you separated? Wait, let's do that again.
What'd you do?
Woo!
Do it.
Watch, you're like, ready? Whoa.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I just come across this new series of compilation, Job Center Rejects. And I knew nothing about it, but there's 4 volumes of them now, and it's new wave British heavy metal stuff, and it's like deep, man, stuff I've never heard of. A couple things on here like Overdrive, and I think Spider, yeah. But this is volume 1, very cool if you dig new wave British heavy metal. But this is like I said, the early stuff. There's no Iron Maiden, Saxon sounding stuff on here. It's more just hard rock kind of, you know.
I just have volume 2 on CD. I've been trying to get
other 3.
Yeah, I've been trying to get the other 3. I got volume 2 when it came out.
That's the hardest one to get. That one goes for like $80 on vinyl, man. The rest of them you can get for like $25, $30.
Yeah, I just got them on CD.
Yeah. So I just need. I got 1, 3, and 4. I need the second volume.
3 and 4 just came out within the last month, right?
Yeah. And that's what turned me on to him when I went back trying to get the other ones.
Where'd you order them from, Greeno?
I'll tell you offline.
Okay, cool.
Actually, I got this one, volume 1, off Amazon, believe it or not.
Okay.
So I got this one, Blizzin. These guys been around for a little while. They got an EP, and this is their second full length new wave traditional heavy metal out of Germany. This thing's awesome, man. I mean, right down to the '80s cover. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's a current album?
Yeah, it just come out, dude.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
I thought it was like your old reissue or some shit.
Doesn't it? I mean, it's fucking killer. But out of everything, the EP's great. The first full length was okay, and this one's like they're right back on it. This one, dig the shit out of this.
Nice.
I grabbed Hanoi Rocks, all those wasted years. This is basically the audio from the video. Do you guys remember that
live show?
Yeah, it was a video they had up.
Yeah, I never bought that.
That's pretty cool.
What pressing is that? What label did that reissue come on?
Back on Black. I think it's relatively new.
I got the was it the Cleopatra box set that came out a couple of years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, and it's Cleopatra, so pressings aren't wonderful. So I might need to pick that up too.
Right on. I pulled this out. Hadn't heard it forever.
Nice.
Right there. I had this sitting around, never spun it, and finally did. It's been in the inbox. I picked it up a long time ago. Some 80s thrash, Atrophy.
Nice.
So this was the first album. I need the second album. I got talking to LJ, and he's like, dude, I love that. And the second album's great. And he sends me a picture of that. And I'm like, oh, I got to find that. And then he's like, then they put out a thing of the early demos. I'm like, man, I have to find that too. He goes, it's really good. It's like, sweet. So I'm looking through the inbox, and then, oh, there it is. So I picked it up at some point, probably because of him, years ago, but I hadn't spun it yet. And this is killer, man. There's 2 or 3 live tracks on it that aren't that great, but the demos themselves are awesome.
LJ, speaking of, he never even comments on here.
He's all stuck up.
He is. He's probably watching right now, and he's not
probably enough. Just got this in, back out. These guys out of the Netherlands. They basically recorded this album, and it never got released, and they finally just put it out.
Wow.
This is like killer, like mid 80s blue collar, metal. It's very good. Digging that.
Nice.
That's kind of all the metal, and I've been going through.
Who's the chick over your shoulder? Over your right shoulder.
Right there.
Is that Eartha Kitt?
That's Blondie. It's a Blondie bootleg.
Oh shit! All right. Looks like her. Man, she looks smoking from here.
Oh yeah. Blondie in the 70s, man.
Oh, that's true.
And then spun this the other day. Fucking love Grandpa Jones. I don't know if there's any other Grandpa Jones fans.
Yes.
I remember it.
He's fucking awesome, man.
Yeah, he is. He said that Zep Pearl said LJ, don't be a malacca.
All right. But yeah, most people know him for the the comedy and all that, but he's been Grandpa Jones since he was young. You know what I mean? Here he is younger here.
Fuck yeah. He looks like a kid there.
Yeah, he grew into the Grandpa Jones as he got older, but he was Grandpa Jones forever. But man, awesome storytelling, funny. I'm not a huge country fan, but some of the old country I dig is definitely him.
That's cool.
String Bean. That was his partner.
Yeah.
He died, right?
Yeah.
Like I remember he died during when they were still on Hee Haw, I believe.
Yeah, he's been dead for a long time, I think.
Yeah.
And then this awesome motherfucker sent me this.
Nice.
Oh, there you go.
Thanks, George, man. I totally appreciate you tracking that down for me.
No worries.
I can't remember if I showed that, but I'm a huge Concrete Blonde fan. Walking around.
Is that one of the reissues, or
yeah?
How do they sound? I've heard differing things.
This sounds awesome, and I ran into this in a store. I didn't even know the reissues were out, so I picked it up.
Yeah,
and it was like, oh, sweet. I have the early stuff on vinyl, but some of the later I don't. So,
not to cut you off, but Michael Cron, I hope I said his name right. He said his string bean was murdered because he kept his cash in his mattress. Someone found out, killed him and his wife.
No shit. Wow. I never heard that. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Remember Love D-Haw?
So did I. Yo, now here's when we were kids. remember Minnie Pearl had her howdy.
Yeah.
So when we were kids, we all came up with our own.
Yeah.
You know, and of course mine was "fuck you."
Of course it was.
Awesome.
Anyways,
Hey, hi.
back to the Concrete Blonde. This sounds great, but I ordered Bloodletting and Mexican Moon. I think that was the other album, and I think that's right. Anyways, I got those from Amazon, and they showed up completely fucking destroyed.
I fucking hate it.
Yeah. And so I had to send them back, and it kind of crushed me. And I'm like, I'm not ordering them from Amazon. I need to find them somewhere else, because Concrete Blonde's one of my all-time favorite bands. Saw them on this tour.
The best is when Amazon sends them in just a fucking plastic envelope.
Yeah. Dude, these things were looked like it'd been run over by forklifts and everything else. It's like
I had a record from Amazon delivered in nothing. Like, just the record showed up on my porch.
Yeah, I've had that too, with a mailer stuck to it.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I had that one time. Yeah.
Wow. I would snap somebody in half if somebody showed up. Like, I'd be like, what the fuck is it? I'm like, I'm going out. Give me next flight to Kentucky.
All right, man, I got a couple more.
How dumb do you have to be to just slap a fucking sticker on it? Hey, send it out. It should be all right.
It's different every time. Sometimes they'll send them, like these Concrete Blondes, they were in a huge box thrown in there. No extra anything. Yep. And then sometimes you order like a couple records, and they all come individually in those sealed things. Yeah. And then in a big box with bubble wrap. And I'm like, we had treated these with kid gloves, and these other ones, you just took a big shit in the box as you sent it to me.
Took a fucking dump in the box.
Yeah, I don't understand, man. It's a crapshoot with Amazon for anything. Like I ordered the comic books, the big omnibus books, and half the time, I try not to order from Amazon because they do the same thing. And those things are heavy. They just toss them in a box and they get all fucking beat up.
Remember they used to fucking wrap plastic around them and then stick them in the box? Yeah. Remember they used to wrap the cardboard, and they had a piece of cardboard and they would wrap it in plastic and then put it in a box. Speaking of Greeno, I don't know if you're into
said them Amazon people can't take time to pee, man.
Yeah, that's true.
They throw them in there doing the pee dance.
Greeno, did you ever see these started showing up on Amazon? I don't know when, but it's been recently. These big old 50s horror comics.
No, I haven't seen that.
They're all like reprinted.
Right on.
This one's 500 pages. It's $19.99.
Wow, that's killer.
They have. I'm going to tell you right now. They have a shit ton of them. You have to really be know what you're looking for.
Right.
Like, here's these old ones like this, but
that's cool. I'll have to check into those.
This is volume 1. I know they have 2 other volumes of that magazine, and then I picked up. I've been getting one every couple weeks because then I'll read them. But the last one I picked up was the Tales from the Tomb one.
That's cool.
That's
dude. I'll have to check into those.
And they're like, some of them are most of them look really good reprinted, but some you could see the outline from the old print. Yeah. But I figured I'll never ever see these for that cheap. And then they have smaller like the Psycho one.
Right on.
For these are 200 and some pages. These are only $14.99.
That's cool, man. It's cool.
That
somebody's
good. Yeah, this was the first one I bought just to see what it was like. And then I liked it so much that I started trying to knock out the bigger ones first.
Yeah.
But
it's so cool. There's companies out there putting that stuff out so it doesn't get forgotten.
Well, it says in there, it's like, these are basically just done because they're public domain now and they're just not available,
Right. Well, I got a couple more here and I'll be done.
Cool.
We'll run through these real quick. Got an Alice in Chains boot from
Oh
1990.
shit!
This thing sounds great. It's an FM broadcast from LA.
Nice.
That's pretty killer. And then one from 92, same deal. Both these sound good, man. And I'm sure you got this, George.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's a good show.
oh, yeah. And I picked up a Faith No More, and this is just like miscellaneous.
I saw that on the.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I figured, it was cheap for the price. And a couple jazz. Huh?
Okay. Have you guys listened to the new Mr. Bungle? Speaking of Faith No More, what do you guys think of that? The thrash album with Scotty and.
I was never a Mr. Bungle fan. Love Faith No More. I could never get into Mr. Bungle.
Cool. All right, continue. Sorry.
Scott Ian's with them?
Yeah, they did. Apparently, it's they re-recorded like demos or something from their They started out as a thrash band, and they re-recorded all these songs. And Scott Ian is the second guitarist on the album. They just released it a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
It's pretty. I'm not a huge Mr. Bungle fan, but I like this as much as I've liked anything that they've done. It's pretty interesting.
That's cool. Right.
Sorry to interrupt. Please continue.
Cool. I just got a couple jazz things that George will hate. Some Art Blakey.
Nice.
Best thing about those jazz albums,
the covers.
Yep.
Well,
dude, the covers are amazing. I would buy the jazz records, like some of the jazz albums we get in used. Like that Art Blakey one. If I saw that used, I'm like, dude, that cover's badass. I gotta own that.
Well, what's cool about these? This is that Jazz Images or whatever. So this is an older album, but they redo the covers.
Yeah,
yeah. And the old covers are cool and all, but they know what they're doing. They're putting killer. And then a couple more things. Grab that.
Oh yeah,
nice
collection.
Oh, that's wow, really?
Yeah, on Blu-ray, man.
Oh shit.
Awesome. And then they put out the box complete set on Blu-ray.
Oh, nice.
Fucker.
Yeah, I had to grab that. So,
where was that?
I got both of them off Amazon.
All right. I'm getting the Flintstones like as soon as we get all.
Grab that on Blu-ray for like $3.99 on Amazon.
Yeah, they're doing they're like all the big Black Friday shit starting already because they're
really
so like Walmart, I think this weekend just did all their DVDs and shit, like $3.99 ones. But
that's what the wife said. They already had sales going. She was out there today grabbing something.
They don't expect this Black Friday everything's going to be shut down. I guarantee you.
Yeah, getting what they can now. Well, guys, it's been like 2 hours, and I gotta piss.
No, you gotta take a shit.
No, I gotta piss.
You gotta break tradition.
It's 10 o'clock, and I gotta go to work in the morning.
Yeah, me too.
Fitzzy, it was awesome having you here. Definitely have you back on again, dude.
For sure.
Thanks so much for having me. I was nervous about it because I just didn't know if I'd have anything to talk to you guys about. But
Fitzy's that guy, man. Like Fitz is like I see him all the time on Facebook. It's like talking to a buddy. You know what I mean? It's weird.
I told you we were talking. You were like, "Hey, I don't know what we're going to talk about." I was like, "Dude, it's just fucking record nerds sitting around bullshitting." That's basically what we did tonight.
Yeah, this is great. I appreciate you guys having me on.
And Greeno has a new Super Suckers trucker hat. Or is that?
No, I actually bought this. I handed the money to Eddie Spaghetti, and he handed me the hat at the show.
Right.
I didn't even notice that it was SS. I thought it was a San Diego Padres hat. I just now caught that. Nice.
So right on, man. This was awesome. Like I said, definitely like to have you back on. Yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, get you on here. Thanks. One of the big ones with a bunch of the other knuckleheads.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, guys. Thanks everybody for watching.
Thanks. Yep. Take care.
See you all next time.
Hang out, Fitzy.
Yeah, hang out.